I've had more fun recording and making this record than any record I've ever made in my entire life, because it was so relaxed, and we lived with each other for like 5 months, and we're about to go live with each other for another 1.5 years on a bus.
This could be the last record.
You got it. Exactly.
Foo Fighters released their third studio album, There Is Nothing Left to Lose, in November of 1999. But this time around, the Foos moved away from the big Hollywood studios and recorded the album at Dave Grohl's home studio that he had built.
So we spent like 4 or 5 months just d***ing around downstairs.
This used to be an unfinished basement. Don't let anyone ever tell you that you can't build a studio in your house, because you can. You don't need an acoustical engineer. All you need is, you don't need much.
There were several changes for the Foo Fighters for the making of their third record. Franz Stahl, who had replaced longtime guitarist Pat Smear in '97, left the band, leaving the Foos as a three-piece. Grohl, Nate Mendel, and Taylor Hawkins all moved into Grohl's Virginia home and set to work on creating There Is Nothing Left to Lose.
We decided, okay, we're going to be a three-piece. We'll be a three-piece. And then we put, 50 guitars on every song. Think, well, how are we going to pull that off? You know? The three of us are like best friends now, so you need to find someone that's a potential best friend. Yeah, I'm going to kick your ass.
Dave Grohl would do all of the guitars on the album. However, the Foos eventually would find a new guitarist who beat out over 30 other applicants, and that was none other than Chris Shiflett, who remains in the band to this day.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to the new guy, Chris Shiflett. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, look at that guy, huh?
Foo Fighters co-produced the album with Adam Kasper, who has worked with such bands as Aerosmith, Queens of the Stone Age, and R.E.M.
Both Dave and I had worked with Adam before. We got along with him well and really liked the way he worked in the studio, which is quickly and well. He gets really great sounds. They're not really adorned with a lot of effects.
Someone like Adam is present. He just sets up microphones, and what you hear in the room is what you're hearing through the speakers. He sort of lets you do your thing. If you get into a bind, or if you start going somewhere where you really shouldn't, he'll say, you know what, guys, that's f***ing stupid. That does not sound good, and you shouldn't do that.
For There Is Nothing Left to Lose, the band went back to recording on tape. And the biggest challenge for this record, Grohl said, was getting it to sound good without the use of computer programs such as Pro Tools or Auto-Tune.
The album probably sounds more like a band than most things that you hear on the radio, only because we didn't use any sort of Pro Tools or computer program to edit or clean anything up. We recorded it in my basement, and it just sounds real. Like it just has their flaws. There are things here and there that, kind of screw up a little bit, and the songs are the best songs we've ever written. So it's pretty cool.
The 11 tracks on There Is Nothing Left to Lose are a mix of hard rock songs and soft rock songs. The album starts off with the heavy, kick-ass Stacked Actors, then into Breakout, but then you move into songs like Aurora, Next Year, and Ain't It the Life, which have much more of a mellow vibe.
I haven't heard this single, but I heard that you've toned it down a notch for the first single. Monkey Wrench was a kick-ass tune.
Well, it's kind of weird, because when you have an album of 11 songs, especially with this record, it's kind of diverse. Each song is sort of different, and you try to find one that represents the whole record. Mm-hmm. This one does not.
It does not.
None of them really would. I mean, if you were to hear a song like Stacked Actors, you'd think, oh my God, the Foo Fighters are out of their mind and this is insane. Or you'd have a song like Ain't It the Life and you'd think, oh wow, they sound like the Beach Boys now. That's kind of weird. Right. So we just decided, well, what the hell, release this as a single, and
People freak out, there's so many personnel changes, the revolving door of the Foo Fighters, but I think with every change we get a little closer to what we want the band to be.
There Is Nothing Left to Lose was the first album that late Foo Fighters drummer Taylor Hawkins drummed on. Hawkins joined the band back in '97, just after The Color and the Shape was released. so he did not drum on that album. And when it comes to their third record, even though it was his Foo's debut, Hawkins did not actually drum on the entirety of the album. It was a 50-50 split between he and Dave Grohl. Hawkins drummed on half the tracks, Grohl on the other half.
So the first album I played on, I played half the drums on it and Dave played the other half. And I was just sort of, I remember at one point, I was just like, Dave, just you play drums on it. I'll tour. I won't quit. Like I'll learn. I have to learn how to do this. You're Dave Grohl. You're a master already. Smells Like Teen Spirit. I'm a ding dong. I've never done this before, and I'm scared. And I had red light fever, which is something that people use as a term. Is like whenever the recording lights are on, you kind of freeze up, and I was doing that. Yeah. And he kind of held my hand through half of that record, and he did the other half of the tracks.
And one of the songs that Hawkins did drum on, which he would later name as his favorite Foo Fighters song, was track number 6, Aurora.
There's one song on there called Aurora, which is the first song that I ever recorded. I felt like there's some good stuff. I played on Breakout, and I played on MIA and a few of these other tracks on there. That was the first time I ever went, okay, I can fit in this band.
5 singles were released from There Is Nothing Left to Lose: Learn to Fly, Stacked Actors, Generator, Breakout, and Next Year. Now, we all know how the Foo Fighters love to make their crazy, funny music videos, and the video for the lead single, Learn to Fly, was no exception.
That video was really fun to make, just because I think we've sort of realized that we're not good at being serious or cool. But making a video, it's like, oh, someone gives, hey, here's $500,000. Go make a short film. Like, yeah, fine. I'm going to make fun of rock videos. I want to make fun of all of the other videos that I see on MTV that do just that exploit, some gross image or something other than the music. It seems like focus has shifted so far from music these days that it's concerned so much more with image, and to us image means nothing. So we make fun of ourselves. Like we're pretty goofy, funny, ridiculously twisted people, and if you let us be in charge of making a video, it's going to be a mess.
Now, how many
so the Learn to Fly video was basically an idea that we just spat out of our mouths while listening to the song as we were mixing it. And hey, wouldn't it be funny if we were all girls and nuns and fat people and pilots and stewardesses and we could pull it off. I'm in the sky tonight. There I can keep by your side, watching the wide world ride high now. I'll be coming home next year.
Dave Grohl, who has named There Is Nothing Left to Lose as his favorite Foo Fighters album, stated that this time around the album was totally based on melody. So there was more actual singing on this record as opposed to screaming, which had been predominant on the first 2 Foo's records. When asked about the album title, Grohl said that it represented the band's mood during production. We just wrote off and played like all bets were off. No one was forcing us to be there, so it had to be fun. And the songs had to be the best we could possibly come up with at the time. As far as the album cover went, the Foo Fighters kept it simple. Just a shot of the back of Dave Grohl's head showing his Foo Fighters tattoo. And yes, that is a real tattoo. This album actually was the first record that we entered into the studio with not much demoed material. A lot of this stuff was written in the studio, but it was fun. I mean, it was nice to do that for the first time in my life and have it, at the end of the day, feel like I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change a thing. Foo Fighters would go on to win 2 Grammy Awards for the album, one for the music video for Learn to Fly, and the big one for Best Rock Album. And of all the Grammys the Foo Fighters have since gone on to win, These marked the very first Grammy wins for the band. Dave Grohl said, "When we won for Best Rock Album, which we made in my basement, I was so proud. Because we made it in my basement in a crappy makeshift studio that we put together ourselves. I stood there looking out at everybody in tuxedos and diamonds and fur coats, and I thought we were probably the only band that won a Grammy for an album made for free in a basement that year." So there is Nothing Left to Lose, the Foo Fighters' third studio album. It is a very awesome album, right up there as one of their best. The simple reason for that, the songs, the first 3 tracks right off the bat, Stacked Actors, Breakout, Learn to Fly. Track 4, Gimme Stitches, could be seen as one of the underrated songs of the album, good track. Next up, you've got Generator, very awesome with that voice box effect at the start, that's a great song. Aurora, again, that would make a Foo Fighters top 10 song list anytime. Next Year and Ain't It the Life, 2 very good mellow tracks. And the final song, MIA, very cool too. And there is a bonus track also that came out on some releases, that is Fraternity, another very good pop rock song. I wouldn't put this album ahead of the first 2 Foos records, but it is very close. I think on my Foos album ranking video, I put this one at like number 4. So right up there, but had a bit of a different vibe and a bit of a different tone from the first 2 records. It was a bit more mellow in parts, and as Dave Grohl said, it was all based on melody. He sang more as opposed to screaming. First album that Taylor Hawkins drummed on. Just a 3-piece here with Dave doing all the guitars, so it was something really different. But as I say, the music speaks for itself. A very strong Foo Fighters record. So thanks guys for tuning in. Be sure to drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll catch you next time.
Turn the outside in for the... Oh my God. Turn the outside into the inside. Dicks.